All right, we get it rolling on the Krug Show. I'm at Levi's after the 49ers beat the New England Patriots. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And also, we are brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World, proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. So click the link below. Go to sleepworld.com. Find a bed that works for you. Whether you shop online or visiting in store, use that code KRUG10. And you'll get 10% off. That's Krug10, K-R-U-E-G 10, to get 10% off in-store or online at sleepworld.com. Thanks to Mancini's for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. And last but not least, Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend and a fan of the show, Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. Guys, good win for the Niners. Just my opening salvo here. I talked about it yesterday on CanBR about during the 49er forecast, the Saturday show. Just that I really thought this was going to be a defining game for the 49ers season. If they won in my opinion, if they had won, a blowout, and I would kind of put today's game in that category, even though it was kind of between a one-sided victory and it was a good win for the Niners, and it was a multiple score win. So we'll call it a semi blowout. To me, if they won a game like they won today, okay, they're back to 2-2. All was right with the world. And, you can go about your business, thinking of the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender, as one of the best teams in pro football, so on and so forth. If they had won a nail biter today, I think that would have been a bad sign. I think that would have been like, okay, well, they got to win, and that's good. But at the end of the day, if you're getting nail biting wins over the Patriots at home, are you really a Super Bowl contender? And then, of course, if they had lost, that would have been, there would have been, even a close loss would have been like, oh my God, changes need to come. Somebody's got to go. Who's got to be fired? And if they had gotten their doors blown off, we would be sitting here. If this was 30-13 Patriots, I think we would be sitting here in just a huge amount of depression. 49er fans thinking, it's time for regime change and everything else. So that was my perspective on it. Let's go around the room and get your guys' thoughts on this game. A good win for the Niners for sure. And we welcome in Damon as well. Damon, good to see you.
What's going on, guys? Good to see all of you, and good to see.
We just started. Go ahead.
Yeah, good to see them look like themselves. I mean, I know that, the ultra critics will be out here saying that the New England Patriots are not a good outfit, and they'd be right about that. But the 49ers got back to a lot of the basics and a lot of the things that, we know is in their DNA. We saw some of that today. It's good to see the defensive line get off. And if Fred Warner's ankle is fine and nothing to worry about, today was officially a good day for the Niners. The rest of the division broke around them. Cardinals lose, Rams lose, Seahawks are playing tomorrow night. It's a good day of 49er football.
No question. I don't know if everybody knows everybody. Damon, of course, you guys, Danny and Rye, but today on the show is Los, and maybe popping in here at some point will be my nephew, the great Joe Harrell, who's a big Patriots fan.
Fantastic.
And Frank Red might even stop by. Kev's not going to be here today because Kev's partying and he's got his girlfriend in town. They went to a concert, and
that's what I'm talking about. That's
Kev,
he's too busy. My kids crashed the last 5 minutes of my show. So Jillian is wrangling cats. I've only got a few minutes. I just wanted to make sure, Larry, that everyone was planning on stopping on by both of our channels on Monday morning for Wake Up. It's going to be a hell of a show. And, it's
brought to you by Sam's Chatterhouse.
Brought to you by Sam's Chatterhouse. This is exactly what the 49ers needed. There's another special teams miscue. Good Lord. God damn. Why can't they just find somebody to catch a kickoff, to not fumble? I don't understand why it's so hard. I don't get it, Larry. After a win, it's hard to just, come down on them for something, but this happens every single week. Every week. We got 4 weeks of action. We got 4 really terrible special teams plays. And the only way the Patriots were going to get back into today's game is if the Niners open the door for them. And they did. It's just that's got to stop.
I mean, I don't know what you guys thought of Gendo, but, I know it's funny. Chris Forster came out this week and was like, Gendo looks awesome. He looks great, and I'm thinking to myself, Gendo does not look great. It's like Gendo looks like a guy who's big and strong and fast and never played running back.
He can't play. He can't move laterally.
And he doesn't move well laterally. He doesn't have any
straight
slide. He doesn't have any vision. He's just not a running back. I mean, he's the size of a running back. In an ideal world, maybe he could be a running back, but you know what I mean? There's nothing. It's like here's what you don't see in the NFL. You don't see guys turned from cornerback in, fast corners don't get turned into running backs. Oh man, he's a really fast wide receiver. We'll just turn him into a running back. I mean, it's pretty rare. Why? Because running backs that's an instinctive position. You have to have instincts, and it's like you just can't take a big fast guy and just be like, oh, you're a running back. Now you can take a running back and make him something else. I think Miles Jack was a running back at UCLA, became a linebacker. There's lots of examples of that, but there's not too many where you say, oh, well, you know what? He's never played running back, but now he's a running back. So Gendo is fast and he is big, but there's just no feel there. There's no instincts there. I mean, we'll see what they can. He's got to be a kickoff guy. He's got to be a receiver out of the backfield. But
can I ask a question? Did Cowing get hurt and I don't know about it because okay.
I don't know if it was serious, Damon, but he went out with a shoulder. I think it was.
Okay,
I think that's what.
Because when I saw Juszczyk back on that punt return, I was like, wow, what did Cowing do wrong? Because he seems to be the only thing going halfway right from a special team standpoint. But yeah, Gendo he ain't showing it, and I don't know if Isaac can, or if Shanahan can continue to ask him to do something for this team when he hasn't even asked a guy like Patrick Taylor to do anything yet. I mean, why is Matt Breida out on them streets and this guy is in the room? I don't get it.
Damon, it's a great question. And I think we have multiple examples now of the 49ers kind of protecting their draft picks, or at least giving them the full runway to succeed. And there's other examples of that as well. But I mean, 49ers don't like to play a lot of their younger players. They like to let them get their feet wet. But on a condensed roster with only so many guys up on game day, you gotta use everybody pretty much. So it's Gendo's big, strong, fast, doesn't have any instincts, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can contribute going forward. Los, what did you think of the game before we get to Ryan and Kenny?
Well, first on Gendo, he was Braylon Allen's backup at Wisconsin. Braylon Allen is on the board. He's looking real nice for the Jets right now. So
took my words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Also,
before you guys say another word, I want all you guys to say hello to my nephew, one of my favorite people in the world, the great Joe Harrell, who is joining us bottom left. Let's move Danny to the side. Let's give Joe more of a center. I mean, come on.
Hey,
Danny's in Arizona right now behind a guarded wall with like dogs and come on.
The Giants finished 2 games under 500. Get in the corner, Dan.
Yeah, get in the freaking corner, Farhan. You stay in the corner. Yeah. And Joe, Joe, this is Ryan over here. That's Danny right there. Dan had a full head of hair before the season started. He stresses a lot about the Niners. Danny, show him what's happened since opener. Yeah, exactly. This guy, that guy had just a mat. He had huge hair before week 1. Damon Bruce up top, radio star. Los up here in the top corner, and this fathead, of course, is your Uncle Larry.
Nice to meet you guys.
Joe, good to see you, man. And before Los is saying his bit, and then we'll work it around to you. But go ahead, Los, give us your rundown.
Yeah, just what the doctor ordered. The Patriots were never going to threaten the Niners' weakness on defense because they probably have less speed on offense than the Niners do on defense. So it's a good opportunity to get right and get everything fundamentally correct. The D-line showed up. Sam, how do you pronounce his last name?
Sam Aquinu.
He could be a fine let's see if he's a one-game wonder or if he's somebody that's going to continuously show up week to week. But yeah, the D line looked good today, so it was a good win over an inferior opponent. That's what you're supposed to do.
It's funny, you take out Hargrave, suddenly the D line really stood up today. Rye, what'd you think of the game?
I mean, it was a good game. It felt a little bit like, I mean, these first 4 games of the season, like people talk about this a lot. It's kind of like preseason now with how long the season is and nobody plays in the preseason. That's really what this game felt like. Like it just seemed like they were taking shots. Like Purdy was just trying stuff. Shanahan's maybe trying to just get that on film so teams have to worry about the deep shot, knowing you can do it against the Patriots. I mean, that last pick he threw to Ayuk, like that was he was just like, screw it. Like I'm tossing the ball 40 yards down the field. And he was like, I'll give Ayuk a chance to go get it. Special teams looks terrible. I don't know what happened to Mitch Wishnowsky. I love Mitch. I really love Mitch, but he's been asked this whole year. Pretty much every punt is a line drive to the punt returner. And like, that's a serious problem because he was like actually a weapon, the way he would pin people back there. And then obviously, Gendo, I will say this on Garendo's behalf. I thought he looked terrible on TV first game. I think he was terrible. Seeing him in person, that Rams game, I can see why they're fascinated with him because he's just so big and he's so fast. And I really think he was like pretty close to breaking a few of those. And I understand what they're doing with him. Like, it's all about getting explosive plays. And in this world of, 2 high safeties and difficulty pushing the ball down the field, like remember when they had Mostert and Breida, like they would break explosives in the running game. And I really think that's what they're trying to get out of Garendo's. Like they just want him. They don't need him to have the most instincts. They just need him to if he can just break one, if Shanahan can just scheme it up so he can just break one, like he's gone. So overall it's a good game, but I don't know. Still feels like preseason.
So now before now we're going in clockwise order here. We've pushed Dan behind Joe. So we'll go to Joe. Joe, what did you think? It's funny. I talked to a bunch of Patriot people this week. I talked to Tom Kern. I talked to a couple of their writers. I had Andy Gresh on the show, and none of them had high expectations in this game at all. No. But what did you think? And what did you think? I mean, you've seen the Patriots play this year. They played really well in week 1. They beat Cincinnati, almost won in week 2 in overtime against Seattle. They got housed by the Jets last we'k. And then today, what did you think of the performance?
Not great, but kind of expected. I mean, kind of what Tom Curran, where he predicted, that's kind of where I was at. I was thinking, but it's basically what happened. I mean, was it 30-13, whatever, somewhere in that range. That's where it was always going to end up. I mean, a lot of negatives, some positives. Offensive line from a Patriots standpoint, still, not getting any better, really. I mean, it was awful against the Jets. It wasn't great today. I mean, there's not a lot of time back there for Brissett at all to throw. I mean, the one thing that's positive is it looks like he's going to Polk a little bit more. He's at least trusting him or at least targeting him. I mean, week 1, he had 1 target. Week 2, 3. Week 3, 2. And then today, 7. So, he basically exceeded his whole year's production today. From a target standpoint, not catches.
By the way, it didn't count, but he made the most incredible catch that didn't count maybe in football this year. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I mean, he's the promising part on offense. Otherwise, there's not a lot. It's they're bad, and we expect them to be bad, but it's also a very boring brand of football. So it's not even enjoyable to watch for the most part, at least offensively. They can't play from behind at all with the run-only style. The second they go down and they can't just give the ball to Ramondre, it's a wrap. I kind of knew there was zero chance today too, that we could steal a win in San Francisco once the Pats took the delay game on the Niners 41-yard line at the beginning, right there when they're staring at a 4th and 1.
Right.
And then they just took that delay game and they punted. And I was like, yeah, it's over. I was like, I mean, I knew it was over. I knew it was over before then, but that was kind of the moment. And the one last thing I'll say is, I do want to see Drake May this year. I think a lot of Patriots fans do. Next week could be a decent spot for him if they think about it against Miami. We'll see. I don't know. But he also might die out there when he's playing. So I mean, Brissett is getting pulled off the ground like it feels like every other play. He's grimacing, holding his shoulder, holding a rib, something. So I'm a little scared for that when they do inevitably put him in. But overall, bad game, but expected.
Yeah. Somebody asked, is Joe a Patriots fan? Joe, you're a Patriots fan, but I mean, you grew up, you started out here, but then moved there as a young kid. So he's got Niner roots. Niners are his NFC team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan for sure. I'm Boston, everything. I'm in South Boston right now. That's where I live. But yeah, I mean, I still have ties to obviously with you guys and everyone else to the Bay Area. I was born in
Niners, Giants, Warriors. Danny, what'd you think, Danny?
Well, I think everybody's kind of summed it up. It's pretty much vanilla game. Pretty much you wanted to see them do some things that they did. Some of the miscues that I saw that need to get cleaned up against a good team. On that catch, I think you were talking about, Damon, the 4th down and 5, and they throw it down the field. What's the safety's name? Jair Brown. What is he doing? Trying to pick off the ball. It's 4th and 5, and it's like a punt, and you're going to try and pick it off? No, bat it down. You get the ball, hit New England's 30-yard line versus intercepting it in your own territory. He just had to go up and knock the ball down, and he let the guy catch it. He was right there. That was just a young player's mistake, not knowing the down. And, championship teams need to make those kind of plays. I don't think you get through, that type of mistake can haunt you in a big game. And those are the little things that I always look at in a game is the IQ of players. It bugs me when that stuff happens. And it just probably, I don't know if the defensive, Sorensen being a former defensive back should be all over him and tell him, you got to knock that ball down.
I thought Diamador Lenore got screwed out of a really nice pass breakup.
I thought so too.
I thought
Bad call.
The officials were decidedly against the Niners today. I mean, Brock Purdy had to throw 3 touchdowns for one of them to actually count in the second quarter there. I thought Purdy had one of his best days in this league with his feet. I thought he was great around the pocket. Some of it was, I've got all this time to dance around the pocket because my line's doing a really good job. By the way, also doing a really good job, that Patriots secondary at times. Jabril Peppers is the best New England Patriot there is right now. He was awesome today.
He's good.
Gonzalez can play too.
Gonzalez can play.
Yeah. But, it's just so funny. It shows you that when we're told that a team sucks, you just dismiss them. And the Patriots, they got a lot of problems. Their offensive line came in banged up, and they were even more banged up after one play. They lose their starting center for the afternoon. So they aren't good in many easy to see ways. They're still an NFL team. And it just shows you, though, our standards for the 49ers are almost unmatchable. We're talking about a vanilla performance, an unimpressive day. When they win by 17, have more than 400 yards of offense, have 6 sacks, create turnovers, score defensively. If you zoom in on how bad the Patriots are, I guess you can nitpick the win. But if you zoom out to a 3,500-foot level and you're just like, so what does the rest of the NFL do in these situations? There are a lot of teams out there playing bad teams, not quite kicking ass like this. I thought it was a really good day that the Niners needed. I mean, Kyle Shanahan isn't a touchy-feely, look good, feel good, play good kind of guy, but they needed to play good to feel good, and they should all be feeling good today. And, dude, Fred Warner's ankle good? He certainly didn't look like he was worried about it on the sideline when he wasn't playing. He still had a good demeanor, and he was talking to everybody. If you're telling me Fred Warner's ankle is fine, today was a great day for the Niners.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, there's levels of these things, right? He didn't show up at the post game in any walking boot. He didn't show up with a decided limp. He had a smile on his face, and he moved on and off the the podium there, or the little stage they have without a hiccup. So, and then I mentioned to Dennis Brown on the KMBR post game that a lot of times you feel good like when you leave the stadium, but by the time you get home, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or maybe the next morning, you might not feel as good. So, it seems like every time they roll these guys out and then roll them back, it's like, there might be an injury tomorrow that nobody even reports today. But Fred looked pretty comfortable. So I think it was a precautionary thing to get him off the field. So I think if you're the 49ers, you got to feel pretty good about. It was
good to see D. Winters get out there. Thought he played well in the little bit that we saw him.
Good call.
And what is it Okwanu or Okanu? I gotta nail
Aquanu,
this.
Aquanu.
Okay.
He's not going anywhere. That kid.
What do you think? He was pretty good. Huh?
Like Lowe said, he's not just a one and done flash in the pan guy. But he looked like he was hungry. He looked like he wanted quarterbacks, and he what did two sacks today?
I don't know if they gave. No, Givens got 2.5. I don't know that they credited a Kwanu with the sack. We were talking about it in the locker room. He's like, "Man, they better have given me that sack." And I'm like, "I think they did, but I don't know for sure." I did an interview with him in the locker room today. We'll put it out on YouTube later. I did an interview with him like Thursday or Friday in the locker room. And we just, we talked about Hargrave being out and, how the rest of the guys have to step up. We also talked kind of in depth on like pass rush plans, I said to him, when you come out in a game, how do you decide like what you want to do first? You want to bull rush the guy first? You want to speed rush him? You want to dip a shoulder, get to the edge? He said, hey, I like to go, power, stripe on a stripe and just, see if I can bull rush the guy. And then everything kind of stems from there. So we kind of went into some, intricacies on his mindset as far as pass rushing. It was really interesting. I asked Bosa today in the post game, I said, Aquanu told me he credits you, Nick, with his improvement. He says he sits right next to you in all the meetings and asks you tons of questions. And I said, do you feel like you've got a different role on this team now as a veteran? And he's like, yeah, he goes, I love it. He goes, I don't know everything, but Sam will sit right next to me in all the meetings and he asks lots of questions. And, that's smart. The guy's only about 6'1" and change, about 270, 275. So he's a smaller defensive end, but he's got tremendous power, tremendous speed at that size. Really a great athlete at 6'1", 270. And you're seeing it. I mean, they're, without Hargrave, every other guy in that line's got to step up and be big time. And if Aquanu can do it, good for him.
Unfortunately, he didn't get his sack. They did not give him the sack.
They gave Anderson. Oh,
that stinks.
I know
he
that
had more
stink.
of a sack than Kittle had a hold. That's for sure.
Dan Mobb says Sam Aquanu is Kimbo Slice. You got to get Sam Aquanu a beard. Get a Sam Aquanu beard. He does look a little bit like Kimbo Slice. For those of you who are familiar with Kimbo.
Isn't that a 49er thing though? When some of the younger players are given opportunities because of injury and then they shine, and then we kind of all say, "Where's that been? Like, can they get love just based on merit?" It's kind of a little bit of a pattern. I
mean, sometimes it's low. Sometimes I mean, if you got Christian McCaffrey on the team, when do you ever get to see the field? I mean, I asked Shanahan about it today. I'm amazed by Jordan Mason now. Okay, we've all known about Jordan Mason for a couple of years now. But, I mean, it's unique if a running back can go for 5 yards a carry in any individual half, let alone game. This guy's got, like, whatever number of games in his credit. I think he's gone for over 5 yards a carry in all but one of them. I mean, for a big 235-pound back to go for 5 yards a carry, I mean, that just kind of shows, and obviously there's some negative runs. So he if they block it right up front, this guy hits the hole and he's gone. Yeah. He's gone. So I mean, watching Mason do his thing right now, very, very impressive. I
believe he has the most carries in the NFL right now, though. So
I think he does.
Let's hope Shanahan learns from his lesson from last year and doesn't overdo it.
Here's the question I have for you guys. When you look back at this thing today, is today and you look at it, you say, oh man, 30-13, Niners get a nice convincing win. That was nice. Is today more about the Niners, or is today more about the Patriots? Is today more about what the Niners did, or is today about, man, this Patriots team is super challenged and they may be the least talented team in the league? I mean, let's go around the room on this one.
That question better next week. I
know
do.
It's always like more perspective. You're right.
Right. I mean, we need to see what is stacked on top of this. But again, this looked like the Niners. This is the kind of game they try to play. You know, the only first quarter criticism you had was those are field goals, not touchdowns. But this was a very Shanahan-ish type of game, including the special teams mistake. God damn it. But it was a very Shanahan type of a game. And did you see the magic number that he's officially got?
Who's that?
The Niners are 30-0 when he scores at least 27 points. Did I see that today? That's the magic number on Shanahan. The ultimate meant 27 points. The Niners have won 30 consecutive games getting to 27 points. That is the longest winning streak of such nature in the league. So,
I say this about one thing, you say it's a kind of a typical Shanahan game, and it is, but Los and I were watching last night the 89 Super Bowl highlights when they beat Denver 55-10. And the difference, even though that was Seifert's first year, it was still a Bill Walsh type team. The Niners back then, they never let up. And it seems like, and that was a Super Bowl, the Niners could put up 40 against teams like the Patriots and should, but they seem to play down, or they just get too conservative and they stop doing things and they stop executing. I'd like to see them start putting teams away and not let off the gas and beat teams by 30 that they should beat by 30.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. When I saw the score 20-10, I was like, oh boy, here we go. That notorious 10-point league. And then they throw a deep ball and complete it and got to 27-10. I was like, okay, that's
4-play 70-yard drive after they had fumbled away the Patriots' chance to get right back into the game. But, so you're comparing them to one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time. They weren't that good. Come on, right?
I'm just saying that was a regular thing, though, in Bill Walsh era. They beat teams badly, and they never let off the gas.
They just stepped on your throat. They would not let you back in the game. I wonder if
that isn't your nostalgia talking more than fact. If we could go back and look at, like, how many yards they put up when they were up 21 and that sort of thing. Look, Kyle is conservative. It's his nature. It was his dad's nature. It was his nature. It's his nature. He will start playing the clock more than he's playing the opponent at times. And you can score that as a demerit, but it works.
I don't know. I don't know, Damon. I don't know if it's his dad's nature, though, Damon, because like Mike Shanahan was offensive coordinator of that 94 team.
They threw it all around then. It depends what you have. It really depends what you have as far as your talent.
And when you're
a good coach will play to his talent.
Right. And when you're an offensive coordinator, you're just, you're snorting lines of offensive cocaine. You're not thinking about anything else.
And I really appreciate that with my nephew in the house that you brought that up.
He looks like he's old enough to have heard of it. He's in therapy right now. He's probably got an 8-ball under his chair.
Hey, let's ask when he asks my older sister, his mother, when she asks, how did it go with Uncle Larry on the show? Oh, it was awesome until Damon brought up snorting lines of cocaine. And then it was like, something changed in the
offensive cocaine, much different.
Offensive cocaine, that's right, which is much different.
We're gonna allow offensive cocaine.
First of all, let's go around the room. Rye, is today more about the Niners or more about the woebegone Pats?
It's a little bit of both. I think the Pats suck. The Pats truly suck. Christian Gonzalez, Peppers. Their team's pretty ass. If you get a lead on them, the game's over. So I think a large part of it was about the Patriots. The Niners got some turnovers. I don't know. I wasn't like overly impressed by the Niners today. I'll say that. But as to the point of like the stepping on their throat, like I don't know. I feel like the Niners under Kyle been pretty good at stepping on the throat. I think about these big games between like the Niners and the Cowboys in the regular season last year, or like the Eagles, and they're winning these games 42-10 or so, and just running the hell out of the ball. Or like those playoff games, even with Jimmy G, when they were beating the hell out of the Packers. So I don't know. I'd rather an offensive coach with a conservative bend than the other way around and having to reel them back in, because that can just get absolutely hairy. I mean, look at Doug Peterson up in Jacksonville.
Joe, what do you think? Is this today about the Niners, or is this about the Patriots?
To what Ryan said, I mean, I think it is a little bit of both. And he is right. The Patriots do suck. I mean, Peppers and Gonzalez are maybe the only two things that are fun to watch. And I guess Joey Sly hitting a 63-yard field goal. That's about it. But
I'm a big Brendan Schooler fan, man. That guy makes every freaking tackle on special teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, they have a couple bright spots, but for the most part, he's right. They're not good. It is a lot about them. I mean, I think, the Niners did kind of put the ball on the ground a lot today. I think that, they make those types of mistakes against, better competition that's not the Patriots. You could be looking at a pretty close game there. And to, what you guys were saying, when it became 20-10, it was like, in my mind, I was like, this game, if the Patriots had any bit of talent, this game could be 2017, could even be tied potentially. So, I mean, I think there's a few mistakes they got to clean up, the Niners, but if they were honestly probably 2 or 3 mistakes away from that game being like 30-3 or 33-3, something like that. So, I wouldn't panic too much if I was a Niners fan or on that side, but a little bit of both. The Patriots kept it to where you could make mistakes and still blow us out. So, I think it's both. It's the Niners. It is a good, it's a good comeback for them from the last couple of weeks. And honestly, that drive right after the 20-10 to make it 27-10 immediately, I mean, that was a great answer. And that was the moment where it was like officially like, all right, yeah, this is over. I mean, it was over before, but now that was, after that response, they're dead. So.
Danny, what'd you think? More Niners, more Pats? Who you here to credit the Niners or blame the Pats?
Well, as everybody said, a little of both. I'll take a lean to more about the Patriots, because I feel like the Niners felt like they could have done whatever they wanted. As Joe just mentioned, that drive to make it 27-10. I think the Niners could have done that all day long if they really had to and felt like they needed to score, because they could do whatever they wanted. And that offensive line for the Pats was like was horrible. I mean, the defense looked pretty good. I don't know if the defensive line is that good or if the Patriots offensive line is that bad, because the line hasn't been there all year, and today it showed up. So I don't know.
One of the most amazing numbers I heard this week, and this was an incredible stat, and I threw it out there. And now Brock Purdy did not have an epic day today, as far as, I mean, his completion percentage was not
55 and a half.
Yeah, it was 15. He was 15 of 27 for 288. Yep. He had 1 touchdown. He had 1 pick. It was a great run day for the Niners. Jordan Mason went for 24 carries for 123 yards. 5.1 a carry at a 25-yard run. Purdy did take a number of shots down the field. He completed a 45-yard bomb to Jennings, a 53-yard ball to Debo, a 38-yard ball to Ayuk, a 15-yard reception to Kittle, a 24-yard reception to Mason. I mean, he really did throw the ball down the field today. There was a Brock Purdy stat this week that since Brock started his first game was week 14 against the Tampa Bay Bucks in 2022. That was his first game as a starter. So basically, since that point till today, these are quarterbacks who have had a 110 rating or better. Did you guys see this stat? I don't know if anybody saw this.
Yeah, and I've got a follow-up stat that's arguably just as good.
Okay, so this is quarterback rating. This is games that you've had a quarterback rating of 110 or better since Brock Purdy started in the NFL, which is week 14 of 2022. Dak Prescott's got 8 of them, 8 games of 110 quarterback rating or better. Lamar Jackson had 6. Patrick Mahomes had 4. Stafford had 4. Josh Allen had 4. Jalen Hurts had 4. Brock Purdy had 15. 15. That's an unbelievable. That is really an unbelievable stat to me, that he's got like 4 times almost the 110 quarterback rating games as Mahomes since he started in the league in 2022.
I mean, Mahomes is having a weird one. Like, he's almost like granted, like, they'll probably win the Super Bowl again this year and, like, shut everyone up. But, like, he is kind of like the elite quarterback version of Benjamin Button right now with his career. Like, when he came into the league, it was so insane, the numbers he was putting up. And anybody that has, like, you know, plays him or has him in fantasy football, he's not doing anything. I think he's 12 touchdowns, 10 picks in his last 10 games. But he's 10-0 in those games.
You know, his wide receiver talent has fallen off. Kelsey.
That's true, but you know what? I will say this. I mean, well, Rashee Rice was pretty good. The guy is also surrounded. He has the best defense in the league. He is the best defensive coordinator in the league. He is the best special teams coordinator in the league. He has Harrison Butker, who never misses a kick unless it's today, and it was 65 yards. Like, he's surrounded, and he has Andy Reid. I mean, the guys, and people really like to downplay. Oh, and probably the best interior offensive line in the league.
By the way, Rashee Rice probably done for the year. Looks like he tore his ACL today. So
Is he really?
Not gonna get easier.
Oh, that was my next question for you guys.
Oh, Larry, I've got another stat.
Go ahead. What's the stat, Ray?
Okay, highest passer rating over the first 25 career starts since the merger. Number 1 is Brock Purdy, 112.6.
Whoa.
Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes, 112.5. So literally 0.1 better. And then the next one is Kurt Warner, 106.2.
That is wild. That's unbelievable. So what do you guys think? I mean, Joe, I got to ask you first because you don't I don't talk to you as much about Purdy, but I mean, what do you think? Brock Purdy's got 15 games of a 110 rating or better. You just heard Rye's stat. That blows away these other quarterbacks. You just watched basically your entire life, maybe the best ever do his thing in Brady. What give us your perspective on Purdy? His first game as a starter, he beat Tom Brady 35-7.
I remember. Yeah, I mean, Purdy impresses me. I've always liked the guy. I think he is very good. I think he gets disrespected a lot by the national kind of coverage of him, at least. Or put it this way, I mean, people. I know a lot of people here in the East Coast that just don't think he's that great. I mean, they don't really have anything to back it up because there's all these stats like you're mentioning that basically show no, he is elite and he's like next level elite and he should be in the MVP conversation, honestly, with a lot of those other guys a lot of the time. But I mean, it does feel a little bit like Brady to me in some aspects where I just feel like maybe he's not the biggest eye drawer because he doesn't, there's not a lot of flashiness. It's nothing crazy. I mean, I guess when he does use his legs to scramble and keep plays alive and then, convert on third down with the run game, that kind of thing, it is impressive. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't, I don't think it draws the national eye the way that some of these other guys do. But I mean, he puts the ball where it needs to be very often. It feels like every time he throws the ball down the field, at least when I'm watching him, someone's right there. Like Juwan Jennings is, open. He's, taking off for 30 yards, a lot of yards after the catch. It feels like from when I watch, at least. And no, I think Brock Purdy's, I think he's awesome. I don't think I would have guessed, that he has 15 of those games, but I guess I could see why. I mean, I feel like I don't think I ever watch him and think, wow, that was weird or that sucked. The only one that was interesting to me was that pick he threw when he sent it down to, Ty Ayuk today. I kind of scratched my head at that one a little bit. Just looked a little, I guess he just never saw Jabril Peppers coming over. But for the most part, no, I don't think he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He does everything right for the most part and wins games. So I've always been impressed by him.
I think there are two things. I'm sorry. I think there's two. And I gotta get going here. I can already feel my wife staring a hole in my head over here. I think there are two things that are working against Brock Purdy more than anything. And how good he is never scored as liberally as the scores against him of look at all the talent he plays with, plus Kyle Shanahan. And Brock Purdy is living, breathing evidence that the NFL draft is as big of a crapshoot. And the league loves to sell the draft importance. Football fans love to sound fake smart by talking about the NFL draft with a level of authority. And if fans are like that, media members are even more guilty of it. So Brock Purdy being the last pick in the draft is living, breathing proof that nobody, NFL teams included, really knows what they're doing on that day. It is a sequence of best guess you can make, married with luck, married with circumstances. And for Brock, every single one of those data points just happened to land him in a place that has allowed him to thrive, where most young quarterbacks end up in places that are built to make it hard to enter the league. So there's a lot of media bias. There's a lot of just personal draft fart sniffing going on. You know, if Brock Purdy had been a top 5 pick, he would already be lauded as one of the single greatest starts to his career, and people would be lining up to sing songs about him like Viking warriors. But no, he came out of nowhere, so they'd rather leave him in nowhere. And I think that's it. And there are a few content creators who are so fucking bad at looking at football or describing what they're actually seeing that unfortunately they affect an awful lot of people. We are not among them. So keep it up. Keep up the good work, everybody. And we'll see you 9 a.m. Monday morning on Damon Bruce Plus and the Krug Show, co-streaming, Sam's Chatterhouse. We'll be looking at Victory and Chipino. Larry, who will you be giving your game lobster roll to?
That is very much a secret. Hey, on your way out the door, Damon, answer this last question for us. And I'm going to throw it around the room to the other guys.
They're ranked 23rd, Larry. Indiana's 23rd in the country.
That's not the question.
Purdue fires their offensive coordinator. I'm
that
having a weekend.
That's not
Mike
the question.
Shanahan,
Here we go,
baby.
Here we go. Here's the question. We're 1 month in. We're really just, you know, the game tonight and the 2 games tomorrow night away from being a month into the regular season. Who are your top 3 teams in your power rankings after 1 month of football? Who's your 1? Who's your 2? Who's your 3? Are the Niners in your top 3, despite the fact that they're 2-2?
Yeah, I'll put them in third. I would think that, again, the Kansas City Chiefs still deserve your respect until they prove otherwise. So they stay in the conversation. Rashee Rice injury, part of it.
Notwithstanding, yep.
And it might be the Washington Commanders.
Wow. They do look good. Jaden Daniels looks freaking great.
They've punted once this season, I think. Or they've only punted in 1 of their 4 games. They might have had multiple punts in that one game, but they're hard to get off the field. And Jaden Daniels looked like the guy who should have been the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, the Commanders look like they could win the NFC East, because the Eagles we'll find out. And the Giants and Cowboys, I think, are, you know, oversold media stories more than anything else. So
Look at the Cowboys defense now that Dan Quinn left. It has no toughness.
This show's got some toughness ingrained into it. Guys, have a great one. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful night. Nice to meet you, Los. Good to see you guys. Take care.
All right.
There you go. And like that.
Cut off the Dan compliment.
He was about to compliment Dan. We can't have that. We can't have that.
No.
Actually, what the question, Damon, do you want to throw one compliment to Dan? I mean, go ahead.
Don't listen to these guys. Your hair's perfect.
Thank you.
Once again, Danny had a full head of hair in the preseason. Danny
Farhan did it to me.
Yeah. See what happens. See what the stress of special teams does. All right.
Hey,
and like that, Damon was gone.
I have a question for you, Larry. Because
I don't answer questions. Oh, go ahead.
You've watched Brock in practice. You've seen him. The pass he threw to Debo today, the 53-yard bomb, looked a little bit underthrown. It was a touchdown. Had Debo caught it in stride, he had to slow down and kind of catch it. Is that all Brock's got? Can he air it 60 in the air? Or is that about his max, 50, 55?
I would think that's about his max. You know, I mean, I'm sure if he had another, if he could step into it, you know, a little, what's it called? Little crow hop.
Yeah.
If he could crow hop one more time. Yeah, he doesn't. Is
that why they don't go? Is that why they sometimes maybe don't go over the top so much? Because today doing it against New England's one thing, but doing it against the Chiefs with their corners, or Denver's defense or Tan.
I don't think they get the weapons to get over the top. I mean, Ayuk is their fastest weapon. There's no burner there. There's no Tutu Atwell. There's no 4.240. So
Right,
I think that
right.
I think if they had that piece, if like Cowing were established and they could go down the field to him, or if they elevate Terrace Marshall, who runs in the 4.3s off the practice squad, something like that,
That'd
somebody
be nice.
who can get deep. Then maybe we'll find out the answer to that question. My guess is 50-55 is probably his max. But Danny, go ahead. Let's go around the room. Who are your guys' top three right now? Month into the season, Buffalo's undefeated, but it looks like they're going down tonight. Kansas City's undefeated. Vikings are undefeated. I'd probably go KC, Minnesota 1-2. And I think I'd throw the Niners in at number 3. Now, I know other people might give Houston, the Texans, the Steelers, got their first loss today. They're 3-1. Texans are 3-1. Chargers look pretty good. They're 2-2. Heck, Commanders are 3-1. Damon threw them out. The Lions are going to go to 3-1, I think, before the end of the weekend. Tampa's 3-1. Seattle is yet to lose. They're 3-0 with their new defensive coordinator / head coach, Mike McDonald. But I'll go Kansas City, Minnesota, and the Niners number 3. Where are you guys on your top 3?
Well, I mean, I almost would want to break it down into the 3-1 teams and the 2-2 teams. Who's the pretenders and who's the contenders? But if you're asking top 3, it's KC, Minnesota, and the third one, I'll judge that tomorrow night. But I think I'll take Detroit because I think they beat Seattle.
Okay, vote for Detroit. What do you guys think, Joe? Who's 1, 2, 3?
I'm KC's 1 until they prove otherwise and at least start losing. They're 1. I think I'm going to go Niners 2. I still think they're up there. I mean, again, what we saw today, a little bit of both Niners and Patriots, being good and bad. But I still think they're probably 2, which I'm sure Vikings fans wouldn't want to hear that. But 3, I don't know. I mean, I want to put the Vikings, but I don't know if I trust them there, that much so far. I want to go Lions kind of. I hate to do it, but I kind of think Ravens would be my 3rd. I know the Ravens are 1-2. Looks like they're going to be 2-2. And that Raiders loss was weird. That was bad. But they hung with the Chiefs. And I still think, at least, they almost blew that game against the Cowboys. But for at least, the first half of that game, they looked pretty ridiculous. And just tonight, too. I mean, I was going to put the Bills, but now seeing what's happening here in Baltimore, I can't put them up there, I don't think. So I think I'm going Ravens 3.
Rye, what do you got? Who's your top 3?
Ooh, just from a pure power rating, if we were placing bets on these teams that are facing off, I would go KC 1. I'd still go Niners 2, and 3. Oh, I really want to go to Detroit, but Jared Goff has not looked good this year. It feels really icky right now because they're getting beat down, but I think I got to go Bills.
Okay. Los, did you go? No, you haven't given yours.
No, not yet. KC 1, obviously, although their injuries are going to be concerning moving forward.
But they are undefeated. They are the Super Bowl champ. I think by all rightful accounts, they should be number 1.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to go Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota, doesn't have a lot of flaws. Their quarterback is maybe playing over his head, maybe not. We need to see week to week. Detroit doesn't have many flaws on their team. I got to see more from the Niners. I got to see them pick it up on special teams and offensive line before I can kind of put them in that category. But
Danny,
well,
did you already give yours?
I did mine. I did KC, Minnesota, Detroit.
Yeah. And now if I asked you guys a slight variation on this, let's just say I said to you, give me your 3 teams that you'd want to consider betting for the Super Bowl. Who would you bet for the Super Bowl? Because that might be a different answer than who are your top power rankings. The power rankings are almost like I felt obligated to go KC, Minnesota. I really did. Just because they're both undefeated, they're both playing well, both sides of the ball, it seems like. And then I threw the Niners in number 3 because I do think they're better than the other teams that are 3-1. But like if you ask me about the Super Bowl, I probably would take Minnesota out and put Green Bay in, despite the fact Minnesota beat Green Bay in Green Bay today, just because I believe more in Green Bay's talent, a little bit more in Green Bay's quarterback. I'd have Niners, Kansas City, and Green Bay would be my three teams if I was picking the Super Bowl. And if I could add a fourth team, I'd probably put Houston because I really like Houston. If I throw that to you guys and say, give me, you can bet three different teams for the Super Bowl right now.
I think you got to go 4, 2, because the conference.
Okay, if we give you 4, I'll give you 4. I'm going KC, Green Bay, the Niners, and Houston. Who are you guys going with?
I'm going Niners, Detroit, KC, and Buffalo. I know Buffalo's not playing well tonight, but I think there's something about them that their chemistry looks really good, and they got a superstar quarterback. So I'll go with those 4.
Joe, what do you think? Who's your 4 Super Bowl teams?
I think I'm sticking with my 3 of KC, Baltimore. I think I'm keeping Baltimore in there. And then the other side, I'm going San Francisco and Detroit.
I think there's more of a respect for Baltimore if you get closer to the Northeast.
There probably is. And there's definitely depending on where you are here, the Bills have that respect as well. I'll self-admit, I have a bias against the Bills. I don't like the Bills. So
there you go.
Biggest
I wouldn't if they're there. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd take
it. Since you're there in the Northeast on the I-95, what's the biggest? Be totally unbiased on this. What's the biggest fan base of the Northeastern teams? Who's got the biggest fan base? Is it the New York Football Giants? Is it the New York Jets? Is it the Patriots? Is it the Eagles? Or is it the Steelers? I would probably go Giants and
I think it's Giants.
It has to be Giants just purely because New York City
of the population
is so big,
Yeah.
But over Jets?
It's gotta be Giants. Yeah, Jets fans.
Yeah,
It's
Giants.
Is that question like in largest in volume and numbers? Because I don't know if there's any more fanatic fan base than the Bills.
Well, I mean, what the Bills?
But the whole area. But if you take the area,
fans falling off and jumping onto tables.
That's what I mean.
The Bills are Albany up. Albany, New York.
Yeah.
Can you not feel pain in the cold? Is that what the deal is?
They do some.
That looks like just pure pain.
The Giants are, having Joe. I know you're from hearing it from your uncle. You're from Farmington, right? Farmington, Connecticut. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
I worked in Farmington and lived in Avon. So
nice.
Yeah, so I'm right next door to you.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't make him feel. Do you realize that right now anybody who's listening to this just went to the door and locked the door just because you said you live nearby? I live right by you. Hold on a second. Let me just hit the deadbolt. Sorry about that,
man. That's cold.
Yeah, my 4 teams would be if you're taking 4 teams. I don't
know if we like you kind in our neighborhood, Dan. I'll go ahead.
Yeah. I'm taking Niners in Detroit. I think they're the Green Bay is right there third, but I'll take those 2. And then in the AFC, I like the Chiefs again, obviously. And that second team, I did pick Houston in the preseason or before the preseason and I think I got like 1,500 to 1 odds. And as soon as I saw what they were doing, I bet on them. So I'll stick with Houston. I think it'll be interesting down the stretch, see how they hold up. But that's who I'm going with. Houston, KC, Detroit, and the Niners.
Los, who do you got?
I had Niners, Detroit, KC, and Buffalo.
Okay. All right. We're coming down the home stretch on the show. We're going to cut it a little short tonight because I've still got to drive all the way back home. But let's go game balls right now. Let's go game balls. I mean, this was a good football game to watch. There were a lot of people you could give your game ball to. I mean, you could give it to Brock Purdy. You could have given it to Nick Bosa. You could give it to Jordan Mason. Jawan Jennings, by the way, 3 more catches for 88 yards on 6 targets. Debo had a big day. Ayuk had a 38-yard reception as one of his 2 catches. Kittle made one of the greatest catches of his life today. And then you look defensively, the 49ers, 2.5 sacks for Kevin Givens, 1.5 sacks for Malik Collins. A lot of good things in this game. Fred Warner is amazing. Fred Warner right now, he had 7 tackles, 4 solo, a pass defensed, a pick 6 for a touchdown. I mean, the guy's playing at a crazy level.
Larry, has Fred Warner passed Trent Williams as the best player on the team?
He is this year.
I think so.
This year, Fred Warner might be the defense. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson has like 12 more pressures than any other player in pro football coming into this week. So I think he's got to be my defensive player of the year. But Fred Warner is right there. I mean, he is right there. He's just incredibly impactful. But we'll go around the room here. Who gets your game ball today? You can give one game ball. Who are you giving it to? Los, we'll start with you.
I really like the way Malik Collins played today. I was, watching the D-line play, and, I know the other Gibbons got one more sack, but Collins was manhandling the guy in front of him. I liked his physical play that he came with, and that was kind of his MO when he came over from Houston. But he hasn't quite shown it yet, so it was a nice coming out party for him. So I like what he brought to the table today in place of, picking up where Hargrave left off, because we're going to need it.
Rye, who gets your game ball?
I think it's got to be Kittle. I mean, that was just like that completely tilted the game. That whole drive was sick, by the way. It's really unfortunate that Purdy highlight's not going to remain, the one where he rolled out and kind of juked the defender, found use check. But I thought just the fact that Kittle was blocking downfield, it clearly wasn't a hold on the Mason touchdown. And then it literally seemed like he was so pissed off. He just imposed his will. That was wild. I can't believe that he was in bounds. I can't believe he got his feet down. Just an unreal catch. And it was just sick to see Purdy have that much confidence in him to throw it up. The old EFS ball. Actually, that was 3 flags up, with 3 6-year-olds or something, and one kid that's 8 years old. That was sick. So yeah, I'll go Kittle.
Before we go to Joe, let me just tell you that this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. I won at the end of the preseason, and I believe we won this week. I don't have the breakdown in front of me, but I'm pretty sure we won today. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code NINERS, NINERS, to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Once again, thanks to Better for being the daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use them to make daily fantasy lineups. Download the app below. Make sure you use that promo code NINERS, NINERS, to get that first deposit matched up to $200. Joe, who gets your game ball?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about going Kittle just from that catch alone. I mean, that was ridiculous. And just his return, he just looks like he hasn't missed a beat. But I think I'm going Jordan Mason. I mean, Jordan Mason he's that guy's ridiculous. I mean, every time he touches the ball, he's going, to your point, for a little over 5 yards a clip. I mean, it doesn't ever feel like he gets stuffed very often at all. I think he had 160 all-purpose yards because he had a couple catches there too. I mean, that guy he's awesome. I guess that would kind of lead me to this question though for you guys. What happens to him when CMC's back? I mean, he's going to get touches, right? But
I don't know if CMC
a lot
back.
Well, right, if he gets.
Yeah, if CMC gets back, then CMC gets back and they share some time. He's very impressive. I will say this. Go look at his game log. I mean, it's hard to average 5 yards a carry as a running back, and it's really hard to average 5 yards a carry as a running back when you're not a burner, right? Usually the guys who average 5 yards a carry have great speed, and they have one awesome run for 50, 60 yards. This guy's not a burner, and yet, what the heck? He's going for 5 yards every time. And I don't know if you heard Shanahan when I asked him the question. In fact, maybe I'll play that here. I asked him the question about Mason, and he's like, yeah, he came up to me in the locker room at the end of the game and was like, sorry that I didn't do this and sorry that I didn't do that. It's like, dude, you're apologizing. You're apologizing for what you didn't do. I mean, you went for over 100 yards. You've gone for over 100 yards in almost every single game. And, I mean, it's just the guys.
He does not go backward when he's hit by that first guy.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Let me play this for you, Los. Listen to this. This is incredible. Here it is. This is Shanny in the press at the podium at the end of the game. Let me see if I can get it up there. Wait, hold on a second.
Eventually, he's going to get them. I mean,
How do you make a Mason? I mean, it's rare for a running back to go for 5 yards of carry, and this guy's doing it in almost every single game he plays.
I mean, JP runs so hard when you commit to the run and he gets a number of carries. It's just eventually he's going to get them. I mean, he just apologized to me before I walked in here because there was a couple he missed. He's the type of guy he is. There was some that he left out there, but there's also when I feel there's nothing there, and he also always gets a lot more than I'm expecting. So he's been a stud this year. He's been a stud every time we've given him the ball, and he's really taking advantage of his opportunity.
Could you imagine going into the locker room and saying to the head coach, "Yeah, I kind of blew it. I didn't do this and I didn't do that. I left this out there. I left that out there." And it's like, dude, you just ran for 5 yards of carry and you went for over 100 for like the third time this year. That's a great one. He deserves a game ball. All right. Who hasn't given their game ball yet? Danny, go ahead.
Well, I was going to give the game ball, but Rye took Kittle. Joe took
This
Mason.
isn't the post game KMBR wrap. If you guys both want to take Kittle, take Kittle.
I'm going to do something a little unique and go different. I'm going to go with Adrian Gutierrez in the chat because he called me out, said the Vikings smashed the Packers. Dan, wake up, because I chose. Anyway, no, I defensively, even though he didn't play a full game, he was totally had a huge impact on the game when he was in there. Was Fred Warner. That pick 6 was unbelievable for him to not only pick it and, fall to the ground, but look quickly, get up and had it. He knew he was going to the end zone. He looked like he was playing at BYU, playing free safety again or strong safety again. He looked like he was having a good time out there on that. It was, he was
gassed after that touchdown. He couldn't.
He kind of got pushed in.
Even celebrate.
He kind of got pushed in, and when he got pushed from behind, he dove and got the ball just over the pylon there. But I'm going Fred Warner. And thanks, Adrian. Thanks,
That's
Adrian.
good.
I appreciate your. It's a long season, Adrian.
I'm going Jair Brown, man. I love the way Jair Brown played in this game. He had 8 tackles. He led the 49ers in tackles. He had 5 solo, the most on the team. He had a couple TFLs. There was one screen pass where he just sniffed it out and blew the whole thing up. He's a young player. He's getting better. He was working hard. I like what I see out of Jair. I think he's a special kid. And I think he's a special player. I'm also really excited by, my conversation in the locker room after the game with Malik Mustafa because it's like, I'm looking at these guys going, man, Jair and a Fonga and a Mustafa. I mean, it's like redundant parts, but Mustafa can play the deep middle. And he feels like he can play the deep middle, and you saw a little bit of it today. And I think you're going to see him a lot. And I think it's exciting as hell. I think he's an exciting player who's going to be that safety opposite the strong safety. I don't know who's going to start at strong safety, if it's going to be Huff or Brown, or they're going to share it. But it sounds like Mustafa is going to move in at free safety.
Larry, I mentioned that on me and Danny's show yesterday. Any chance that they get maybe a little bit more of a 3 safety look and less, Campbell on the field? Because Mustafa's like a linebacker. He can definitely cover better than Campbell.
So you're saying go with a dime, go with kind of a dime type look maybe at times?
Since their safeties are not that fast, you put 3 of them on the field, 2 of them closer to the line of scrimmage.
In Campbell's defense, I thought Campbell played his best game today. I don't know what you guys thought on watching the TV. He made a bunch of tackles. It seemed like he was around the ball. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure what Sorensen is going to do with this defense and try to maximize the personnel. It's hard. It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Did everybody give their game ball? Everybody gave their game ball. Let me hit the supers, and then we'll bolt for the door.
I got one question for you guys too after the supers.
Oh, go ahead. Right, go ahead. We'll jump in right now, and then we'll hit the supers next.
Yesterday was just an awesome day of college football. I was wondering who you guys have for your Heisman right now, and we got a Heisman favorite rolling into Berkeley for game day.
Dude, did you see Dude, Arizona's quarterback, his
Nico?
name Fafita.
Yeah.
This guy had his leg yesterday. It looked like it was going to snap in half. He threw a touchdown. He's playing with Cowing's teammate, that Tetaroa McMillan. Have you seen that guy?
Oh yeah, he's like Larry Fitzgerald or something.
He's like a 6'5", awesome receiver who's super fast. I mean, I could pick somebody else, but to me, I love Arizona right now. Did Arizona win that game last night against Utah?
Yeah, in Utah.
They beat Utah in Utah.
You don't see many
back years
yeah.
they beat Utah.
Night game in
Fafita's
Utah.
real. Fafita and McMillan. I like that kid. Fafita's something. I don't know. I love him. Who else?
What about Ginty, the running back?
Oh
for Boise?
yeah. Gianti for Boise. He's massive and monster. He's like 220 pounds, and they barely played him last week. Yeah. That was another game I was pissed that I didn't bet. Boise against Wazoo last night on the Smurf turf. That was a gimme. It was like 2.5. Yeah, Gianti's a big time player. There's somebody we're not thinking of though. Who's the?
Bama's quarterback is going to be right up there.
How about the dime that Milroe threw yesterday late in the game where he put it right on the guy's hands and the coverage was right there? I'll tell you this, I kind of like Georgia's quarterback. If the draft were today, I mean, how do you not take that guy? I
don't like him because of his the arm sleeve. He's got the arm sleeve, and he looks a little bit like he would be in like a 2006 like Green Day or something like that.
Who's freaking great, and I just can't believe how great he is. When I watch this guy, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm watching Lamar Jackson. The Miami kid,
Cam Ward,
transfer. What's his name?
Cam Ward.
Yeah, the Wazoo transfer.
He's the favorite.
Cam Ward is awesome.
And he's going to Berkeley. Ward. I mean, they might be on upset alert. Game day coming to Cal.
Jaden Knott, baby.
Is Miami coming to Cal?
Yeah,
next week. Next week.
Oh, what time's that game? I got to go to that game.
Like 8:00.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that game. I took my two oldest boys to go see Cal San Diego State a couple weeks ago, and it was the worst game I've ever seen in my life. There were 20 penalties in the first half. The game started at like 7:40. It didn't end till like 11:30. I mean, it was like the most amazing game.
Cal should be 4-0. They blew it last week.
They're playing all these ACC teams they can't handle.
Well, they hit a 14-1 on Ty Johnson touchdown. Let's go.
Nice.
All right, let's hit a couple supers here. Mongreen Acorn says Larry took the gig at KMBR just to justify his excuse for being late to the Krug show. Come on. Hey, you know why I'm late to the Krug show? Is that I had to go down and talk to Shanahan, then the locker room, then back to the podium. I wanted to make sure we did it all. Wait, we got another one here. We've got Fujisimian 13. What do you think of Kyle's comments about that Purdy's 49ers are beginning to orient towards pass focus offense? I mean, was it a pass focus offense? The 49ers passed the ball. They ran the ball
32 times, I think, and 27 passes today.
No, 15 runs. 15 runs for
15. Wait. No, they had 32 runs today.
Oh, what am I thinking? I'm the 15 receptions.
Yeah,
it's 32 run. It was 32 runs, 27 passes.
Yeah, I think that's
that's 55-45 run pass.
Yeah,
pushing the ball down the field, which is just so fun to watch.
I liked seeing them attack down the field, especially because Purdy throws a very accurate deep ball. I'll say this: the more I watch Brock Purdy, the more he reminds me of the way Russell Wilson played in Seattle. Just like he makes all these right decisions. He can run. He understands where the sticks are. He's got good downfield accuracy. He drops it in the bucket. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Russell. Thomas Messina says, is it too late to trade Ayuk to get Darnold back just to lock him away? He's a menace. Yeah, could you imagine? I don't think Sam Darnold's coming back. Fujisimian, Larry, are you able to notice differences with the new tailgate rules at Levi's? Sorry, Los, for Sacred Heart losing to my Crusaders. Larry, no SI fight song?
Get out of here.
I could go SI fight song. I mean, I'm in the press box, and JD's only about 20 feet away, and there's other people here. But I could go, oh, red and blue will all be true. We'll wave our banners to the sky. Oh, red and blue will fight for you. We'll fight for St. Ignatius High, and victory will be our goal. And we will reach it if we try. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight.
Reardon
There you
put
go.
up 69 on Sacred Heart, man. Jeez.
They beat Sarah, though. SI beat Sarah yesterday. More importantly than SH Reardon is SI beat Sarah. In the
Naturally.
Lois, you're a Crusader?
I'm a Sacred Heart guy.
Oh, you're Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart.
Come on, you know.
What year?
85.
85 Sacred Heart. So you were a freshman when I was a freshman. You were a senior. That makes you older than me forever. All right. Ryan Merdadian says Broncos defense is better than the Niners defense.
He's a Broncos fan, of course. He's
what?
Yeah, he's a Broncos.
But so far, he may not be wrong. So far.
Thomas Messina says Patriots did beat the Bengals and took the Seahawks to overtime, so give them their due. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the Patriots. To me, I'll tell you what I was worried about today. Stevenson running the ball. Dink and dunk by Brissett. The Niners going to man. Brissett starting to run against man. Marcus Jones taking one back to the house for 6. And maybe a turnover or two. If all those things had happened, I think this could have been a close game. There was a path to victory for the Patriots. It just didn't happen. Blood Moon says saying what is said about New England says a lot about Seattle.
Seattle's played dog crap. I think Detroit's going to beat the hell out of them.
Butthead says we're a mid team this year, guys. Mid. Are the Niners? Would you describe the Niners as mid?
No.
Right?
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about standings, they literally are mid at 2-2. But
who drank my beer? Says Larry. What up? Seen you on KMBR lately. I'm still a game fanboy, but I tune in anyway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? Damn right. I converted somebody. I've converted somebody from. There was this. Who drank my beer was a game fan. He was a game fanboy. But now he's over at the Leader listening to JD and others. Not because of the genius of you guys, Michael. It's the genius of JD. There he is. JD's in the house.
Damn right.
JD, there you go. Alex just drops a Hawk Tua 0-8. Somebody explain that to Dan. All right, we got this one. Dan's like, hey, we have Hawk Tua people in our area too, except they're worried about the HOA. Who drank my beer says, here's 10 spot. Larry, what up? Seen you on KMBR lately. I'm still a game fanboy, but I still tune in. Look at that. He dropped 2. Or did I read that twice? No.
You read the freebie, and now he paid for it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he see what happens? He sent it to me. And then I ignored him, and then he paid to send it to me. I will not be ignored, Dan. Dan, what movie is that from? I will not be ignored, Dan.
Oh, let me answer.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Glenn Close.
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction, right before she boiled the rabbit.
Okay. I remember seeing that movie. I don't remember the line, though. Okay.
Joe's like, what the hell movie was that? I don't remember.
Might be intense for you, Dan.
Yeah, seriously.
I saw that movie. I saw it. Pretty crazy, yeah.
How'd you get in? It was R-rated. Maitland says, Mason is a punishing runner. I feel bad for the defense that has to tackle him. He sets the tempo for the offense and the team. Kid's a stud. Yeah, he really is.
I really don't understand why he didn't get more goal line carries last year. Like he's 235 pounds. I hated
it. Makes you wonder if they would have won the Super Bowl with a fresher CMC if they just used that kid.
I hated the argument that he can't pass protect. Well, when you're running goal line, you don't need to worry about pass protect.
Though I will say this, I almost feel like we kind of got our answer on why he hasn't played. He has fumbled a number of times already this year. I mean, what would you say? I mean, how many times did he fumble today? Twice? 3 times?
You're talking about Mason?
Yeah, he picked it up. I mean, if you fumble and pick it up, that's great, but he fumbled. and picked it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
at least
first
twice.
one was kind of, they stuck it in and he didn't even close for it. It just went right
Yeah,
in
like
his chest and
technically
out.
they credited Brock with it because it was
Yeah,
on the
did they?
exchange, but like
Yeah.
but I'm with you. I mean, can't have a guy that puts it on the ground. You just can't. I mean, that's what Stevenson's problem is he's such a good player, but he can't help putting it on the ground.
That
4
wasn't
games in
an
a row,
issue.
right, Joe? Isn't it 4 games in a row that Stevenson
Yeah.
has put it on the carpet?
Yeah.
Every game this year, and that wasn't a problem until this year. I mean, in the past, he's been pretty firm with it. I mean, he pretty much never put it on the ground. So
I
Yeah.
don't know
I don't know what
if
that's about.
I don't know if you guys have been watching like the Belichick content that, sorry, Larry, not
Me.
to compete with you. I don't think it is competing. I think it just is
What
an
do you mean?
enhancement. But they're on YouTube. Belichick just like has shows on YouTube for free where he's just like breaking down games every week. And it's just pretty insane that you just get that insight for free. And he talks about
You know what
Stevenson.
show
That's
I
all.
love? Do you guys, any of you guys watch Inside the NFL on the WB?
No.
Belichick's on there with Ryan Clark, Ocho Cinco, and Howie Long's kid, Chris Long.
Chris
Man, that
Long.
is a hell of a show. That is a really, really good show.
That's the show where
Um,
he's like breaking down like Shanahan's offense basically all the way down through Kubiak and everything, right? So
Yeah.
that is pretty good. It's good stuff.
I mean, you know, Belichick is, you know, Belichick's got personality. He just didn't want to show it to us. Valentina Luna says, big fan, love your show. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you, Valentina. Appreciate that. And Moon Man says, this winter blunt tastes great. Patriots pack.
There you go, Joe.
There you go. Once again, I'm sure my sister, if she's watching this, is very proud. Very, very proud. She's thinking, thank you. Thank you for corrupting my son. And on that note, why don't we finish with this final thought? Los, we'll start with you. We'll go around the room. Final thought on this one. The Niners, if you're just tuning in, 30-13, they took down the Patriots. The Niners go to 2-2. The Pats roll to 1-3. The Cardinals are up next. Final thought before we call it a night.
Good
Go
win.
ahead, Les.
Good win. Needed to be done, obviously, but this was like watching Alabama versus James Madison. Shout out to Charles.
Hey,
Hayes,
easy.
College.
Joe went to James Madison.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
He's
man.
a-
James
He's a
Madison's
GM,
kind of a
he's a-
I just
wagon.
stood out there because Charles Haley is Charles.
He's a JMU
Charles
kid.
Haley's old
JMU
school.
kid.
JMU.
By the way, I've got a quote here. Oh, wait a second. I gotta plug in my phone, but I gotta go ahead as you were.
Yeah, I mean, just a must win. They needed to right the ship. There's a few things obviously they still need to correct and fix. Special teams is obviously one of them. McKivitz and Brendel are still a problem. They're still getting dominated from what I'm seeing at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to show out against better teams. But Purdy is just evolving. He's getting better and better when he runs the ball, and he makes those Russell Wilson plays, like you said, Larry, especially on third downs, and keeps the chains moving. He is a problem for the rest of the league. So just show up a few more things and right the ship and just keep it going.
Rye, final thought on this one, Rye, before we bolt for the door.
Final thought is in many ways, this is the ideal get right game because it's not like they just rolled in there and smashed and were perfect executing on every level. This is one of those games where it's like, okay, yes, we're back on the right track, but also I can scream at the special teams. I can, all these problems that have been kind of occurring throughout the season, they still occurred, just less in this one. So, yell about just putting the ball on the ground. So I think it's a good thing. I really wish that Kyle was a little more, I mean, he's clearly a control freak, but I just wish he had a little more of that Belichick where like, he's also very controlling about the fine details, the special teams and the not putting the ball on the ground and all this stuff. So
Agreed.
One more super here from our good friend Anthony Catania, who's not just a sponsor, but he's also a person in the chat today. He says, love the show. Everyone hit that like button. MVP for Brock Purdy. I like that, Anthony. Good to hear from you, Anthony. Danny, or I should say, Joe, what's your final thought on this one? Obviously, we're all Niner fans. I know you're coming at this from the other side of the thing, but it can be a Pats takeaway. It can be a Niner thought. Just your final thought on this.
A little bit of both. I mean, good win for the Niners, an absolutely necessary win for the Niners. If they somehow lost today, I mean, that's I think full panic mode, come right now and tomorrow for them. But good win. I think next week we'll show more about what the Niners actually are against the Cardinals. I don't really know what to think of the Cardinals, honestly. I can't really tell if they're good or not. I think their offense sometimes looks good, but they can't, they give up a ton of points. I have no idea. So next week, if the Niners, roll in and you put the smackdown on Arizona, I think you're right there where you need to be. And look more like the actual Niners. I think this week, it's tough to say, what they truly are. The Patriots, as we've said a bunch of times, they suck. My takeaway from a Patriots side is it's going to be a long year. There's not a lot really else to say. I'll still be watching. Obviously, it's football. Can't not watch. But it's not going to be a good year. It's not going to be a fun year. Their losses are going to be ugly. Once Drake May gets in there, I just hope he doesn't get hurt.
What lasted too long? The Brady roast or this Patriots season for Patriots fans?
No, we like the Brady roast. The Brady roast is fun.
It went a little long, man. It went a little long. They could have cut that thing down.
Yeah.
It was long, but I'll watch Brady content unapologetically. Except maybe not his broadcasts yet. They haven't been great, but
I do feel better now knowing that Joe watched the Brady roast. I don't feel as bad about some of the things that were said in this stream today. Danny, your final thought. What happened, Rye? Did you lose a bet?
Oh, just Josh, dude.
Was he hurt?
Oh, they were coming back. They did like a weird flea flicker back to Josh with no space, and he fumbled it. And it looks like someone's down.
That's the Krugerrands fantasy quarterback right there.
Who's got the better arm out of Josh Allen and Mahomes?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's got a howitzer.
Yeah, I think so.
Danny, your final thought?
Yeah, final thoughts. I think today was a much needed get right win. Wasn't perfect, but they get back on the winning track. They're home. They get another home game next week. A division opponent gives them good feeling going into that game. I think they win the next two division opponents. I think they go into the Kansas City game 4-2, and I think people start getting excited again about the Niners after, laying an egg in week 2 and then blowing that game to the Rams. It'll go into the Kansas City game 4-2, I think, and people will kind of forget what was happening the first couple of weeks. And I don't think they'll win that game against Kansas City right now, but things could change depending on injuries. We'll see. But I think they righted the ship today. Again, not perfect. They're going to have some things to clean up. Special teams, they got to clean that up. I know this is not a big deal because it didn't affect the outcome of the game, but little things that I mentioned earlier when Jair Brown on that 4th and 5, he's just got to go up and knock that ball down and realize that it's a 4th down. You get the ball. If you pick it off, he tried to kind of pick it off and he ended up letting the guy catch it who almost got his feet in, would have been an incredible catch. Those are the little things I want to see smart teams. With veterans, you don't see that. I'm thinking of, remember what was that safety that played for the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago? That was Dawkins. Dawkins would have known what
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Brian Dawkins. He would have just knocked that down. Ronnie Lott would have knocked that down.
Hall of Famer.
Because they understand what's going on in the game.
Ed Reed.
You can't have
Hall of
that.
Famer.
Can't have that.
Dan Coachmillion.
If you're gonna win those big games, you gotta. Those are the little things that cost teams later on.
I wonder if in my archives here, do I still have Dan's HOA moment?
Oh boy,
Dan one time went to an HOA meeting, Joe, and he lives in like a 65 and over community.
55. I'm not even 65 myself. Come on.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a blue hair. It's a blue hair special.
I don't live there anymore. I rent it out. Anybody?
Oh, look at you! You
need a place?
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, I wish I had it. But we used to have in here. Dan went to an HOA meeting, and these blue hair women were like, "Oh, there's a leak in the roof. I see it. It's a hairline crack." And then they showed Dan. Dan's like, "Oh, it was awesome. Awesome."
I was like, "Get me out of here."
My final thought on today is that the hardest thing to do in sports is to do what you're supposed to do. You know, the Niners got out of bed this morning knowing that there's no, you know, if they won, they're supposed to win. If they lose, it's a tragedy. But if they win, they're just doing what they're supposed to do. And that's hard to do. It's hard to beat teams that you're supposed to beat sometimes. And you know what? I woke up this morning just going, I don't care what this thing looks like.
Yeah.
They just need a W. I don't care if it's close. I don't care if it's a blowout. I don't care if it's defense related, offense related. They just need a W. Nobody remembers these games at the end of the year. They just remember how many wins you have, and you just got to stack wins. And, you know, the other thing about the NFL, it's like every game means so freaking much that if the Niners had lost this and lost 3 in a row, and not just 3 losses in a row, 3 games that on paper should have been winnable, definitely 2 they should have won. Man, that would be just, the pressure would have ratcheted up, and all the questions and who's getting fired and who's getting demoted. And oh my God. Now you can just take a breath. Okay, got that win. And now, you know, obviously, if you lose next week against Arizona, you're back in stress mode. But they did what they were supposed to do. They needed to get a win. They got a win.
It's good to see.
It looks like they were escape healthy. I was going to say that's the other one. And Brock Purdy continues to show other elements of his game. He can go downfield. So I thought it was a good win. Mason, stud. Niner offensive line played better. Niner defensive line played really well. And some of the young DBs are starting to come of age. The Niners have a lot of young defensive back talent that in the early part of the year doesn't look all that great, that as the year goes on is going to look better and better and better. And we're starting to see that. So I was happy for Mustafa, really happy to see maybe they have a safety that can cover the deep middle, even though he dropped a pick. Really happy for the Niners on a lot of fronts, but they did what they were supposed to do, and they got a win. So good for them. All right, that's going to do it for us. Let me just let everybody out of here. Rye's got a great channel, and of course, he's a great follow on Twitter, West Coast Smitty. Rye, what do you got cooking this week? If people want to follow you, where's the best place they can follow you?
Just follow me on Twitter. The YouTube actually has been inactive. I haven't been doing anything on YouTube, but I think I will be shortly. I'll cook something up.
Well, we definitely want to see you do more on YouTube, and Rye's a great follow on X. Follow him. Rye, have a good day, man. We'll see you soon. The great Rye Smith. Los, tell people if they want to get a hold of you, where's the best place to reach you? I know you're at Los DLF on X. We can see it there on the screen, but tell us where, I know you do some streams with some other people and that kind of thing. Tell us where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm on with Danny at NorCal Sports Network, and since the Giants season is mercifully over, I'll be on a little bit more with him because I've been ready to talk football for about a month. So yeah, I'm on with Danny. We'll talk football. We just started fantasy football on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So for you fantasy football enthusiasts, come on over for some.
Just put the link in the chat there too if you guys want to catch us there. Yeah.
Good stuff, yeah. Los. And is Farhan back, Los?
No.
And like that, Farhan was gone. Los, good stuff, bro. Good to see you, man. We won't hold it against you. You went to SH.
Definitely. Thanks, Larry.
Take care.
See you guys.
I always got to get the good high school dig in there at the last second. Danny, you got a final thought before you go back to your 55 and over community?
Yeah.
Because when you're in a 55 and over community, they're tapping the keg left and right. When you're 65, it's way quieter. But 55, I mean, they're just cutting loose.
Yeah.
Because you got to really get it in between 55 and 65. Your time's dwindling. Give us people want to. Obviously, you're the czar of all that is NorCal Sports Network. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Yeah, I just say, hey, we've been covering Giants all year round. Tonight will be our final post game. We do it at 8 o'clock here in about 25 minutes or so. Put the link in the chat, but we are not just a Giants station. We've been covering Niners and Warriors, and we'll even cover, the local football, Cal, Stanford, especially Cal, because my brother, is coaching staff there. So, we love to mix it up, but I would say this, that if you want to find out about, follow baseball, we are going to be on a lot during the playoffs. So
Is that
we'll
a
be
threat?
doing,
I mean, no, go ahead.
we'll be doing a lot of post game with the playoffs, and hopefully we are doing a special tomorrow. We've got the thumbnail already.
Ooh, what's it on?
Well, we've already got the thumbnail made. It's breaking news: Farhan fired. That is the hope. If you're a Giants fan and you're tired, Joe, you talked about boring football, watching the Patriots. How would you like to have to watch 162 games of the San Francisco Giants striking out 12 times a game and stranding runners in scoring position at a clip unheard of, and watching guys up and down? How would you like to have a different quarterback every week?
Well, the Red Sox are not that far off from the Giants right now, actually. So it was kind of a lot of that this season as well. 12, 13, 14 strikeouts a night. Also just giving up 8-9 runs a night. Not good stuff.
Not good stuff. Danny, good to see you, bro.
Yeah,
we'll
thanks,
talk to you.
Larry. We'll see you. All right.
Be well. The great Dan Coach Emilio. And then it was just me and Joe. Joe, what do you got cooking? Everything's good. Everything good out in Boston?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Is this your apartment? Am I looking at your apartment back there?
This is my
pretty
bedroom.
nice, actually.
Yeah, we just moved here last month, or the beginning of this month, which was not fun. But it's better.
How far are you from Boston College?
I mean, it's probably about 25, 30-minute drive, but it's like 5 miles.
Have you gotten the emergency call? Please drop something off at Boston College for me. I need something at Boston. We should tell everybody that my niece also goes to Boston College, Joe's sister. So he's the closest one there if she needs anything.
Yeah, surprisingly, haven't gotten that call or text yet. So I mean, I think she's doing pretty well. We just saw her this weekend. Went to the BC football game yesterday with all of them. So it was a good day. I think she's doing well. She likes it so far. So
didn't BC have a big win? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I thought didn't they have a big win?
The Florida State win was their big win.
Yeah, Florida State.
And that was the beginning of the year when they were still like 10. But now, Florida State is kind of falling off. But yeah, they came back yesterday and won. It was a good game. But coming up, I mean, I'll be in Toronto the rest of this week or later this week for work. And then I'm actually coming out kind of your way the week after, California, but Southern Cal. So I'll be in San Diego area in 2 weeks for the whole week.
Look at you with the full beard, man. You're going with the full beard now. Look at that thing.
Yeah, I've had it for a little while at this point. I think it's a better look than no beard at this point.
Well, I love you, bro, man. I wish we live closer. We'd see each other more often. And on that note, we'll call it a show right here. We'll play the outro right here. But always, it was really cool having you here. And hopefully, I don't know if you can jump in on any of our future post games, but you're more than welcome to. And we'd love to have you. And I know you're probably busy doing a bunch of things, but if you got time, you're always welcome to join us.
I'll be around.
Sounds good. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Mancini's. Thanks to Better. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We really appreciated everybody's comments today. And that's going to do it for us. Do we have one more super? I feel like there's one here on the bottom. There's always one. Oh, yeah. Look, here we go. Sure enough. We have this one from Blood Moon. He says, KC has not been dominant in any of their wins. Yeah, but they're 4-0. When you're 4-0, you're 4-0. So anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to everybody. Have a great night. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly